Hey there, welcome to CNT Collectibles MC. Hope you're doing well. And today in our player profile, we're going to continue on with Blue Jays catcher Alejandro Kirk and take a look at him a little bit deeper dive, see if there's anything we should or could be doing with his cards, see if we want to add him to our list or just ignore him overall. So he's a talent. There's no question. I don't think we want to ignore him. That's why we're taking a look at him here in a little bit deeper fashion. So having a terrific season overall. Let's see if it's repeatable. Let's see where he places on a relative path historically against other catchers, and let's get after it here. So if you like this kind of content, like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff, and let's get after it. All right, starting off with just kind of the overview here from Fangraphs. We've got a little Fangraphs, got a little baseball savant, and some market movers action today. He is a 23-year-old coming up on his 24th birthday in a couple of months here. However, for baseball purposes, this is his year 23 season. He's got 4.7 wins above replacement to his name. His hit tool is a 60 grade. Game power, there's a little bit there. Raw power, there's some more. But he's not really a power guy or anything like that. What you're looking for from him is average, and he is doing that this year. 292 average with 133 weighted runs created. This guy, he can hit. We've seen this before in Williams Astudillo, but it looks like Mr. Kirk has a little bit more staying power here. So a very, very nice hit tool. What he does well, he's seeing very good batting eye. He walks more than he strikes out. There's fewer than 10 players in the league that can do that, or that have done that, according to my count here. So that should be that should help him keep that batting average relatively high. Now, if batting average is your only tool, because he doesn't have a lot of speed in terms of the base runs, the defense is just fine. But you're looking for that offensive potential for him from the catcher position. You want to dominate defensively, or you want to do something special on the offensive side, like a Buster Posey, a Joe Mauer, or be Yachty on defense, or be Posey or Mauer on offense, where you can win that MVP, you can win that batting title. Not sure that's going to happen. He's close, but you really need to see him have some special seasons here. So whatever, he has again, great plate presence here. He can hit for average, but there's not a whole lot else going on here. If you look at under the hood, his distribution of hits here, he does hit the ball fairly hard, fairly consistently. So he's got a decent exit velocity on a regular basis, right? A lot of guys are in that 87, 88 area. He's around 90 miles per hour, close to 91 on a regular basis. So he does hit the ball hard. When he hits at that maximum exit velocity, he's not up around the elite batters or anything like that, but there is some pop there. He barrels up the ball at a nice percentage here, off a little bit from last year, but 7% is fairly respectable, and 45% of the balls that he hits are of the hard hit variety here. Soft contact, not a whole lot of that. So again, when he hits the ball, he hits it fairly hard, fairly consistently. He does spread out the ball fairly evenly. This year he's going more to the opposite field than he has in the past. It's more reminiscent of his minor league numbers here, so he does use all fields, and that's a huge advantage for people that are going for a higher average. He has increased his ground ball percentage, so again, not a very speedy guy, and so we'd like to see some more balls in that line drive area here. So I think this is what's preventing him from being maybe that 320, 330 hitter, as he's giving other teams an opportunity to make a play on him right now. But he has decreased the fly ball percentage. Again, if you don't have that elite exit velocity, if you don't have that elite home run power, then it is best to keep the ball out of the air as much as possible. So if he can figure out some sort of middle ground and get that line drive percentage to go up just a bit here, then I think we're looking at what we want to see from him. Again, a little bit higher average. He swings at balls outside the zone at less than I think the elite hitters are kind of in that 20% range. Your very, very good hitters are kind of in that 30% range where they chase balls outside the zone. He's below that average here, and he's getting a little bit better at it. Last year he was about 28% of balls outside the zone he swung at. This year is about 26%. He makes a lot of contact on those, and typically that's a little bit weaker contact, but if you watch him play, he's a little bit more adept at that skill than other players here. He doesn't swing at a lot of balls and miss. You can see that by his contact percentage. Again, outside and inside the zone. Terrific at, if it's reachable, he's pretty much going to hit it. Where he gets punched out, and it doesn't happen very often, is on those called strikes. And so umpires, I'm just guessing the umpires are wrong. They make mistakes too. Mr. Kirk will tell you when it is a strike, I think is how the saying goes here. Heat map pitchers. They're just throwing him down the middle. He's going to hit it. Doesn't matter where you put it. You want to throw it outside, he's going to hit it outside. So we've seen that. A lot of contact. Again, fairly reasonable contact. when I was watching a lot of Williams Estadio when he was with the Twins, there's another guy that didn't strike out at all. He struck out 4 or 5% of the time, walked about 4 or 5% of the time. He would make contact, but the problem was when the ball was outside the zone, to be weaker contact. And again, I think that's because of that, Blue Jays lineup is a little bit better than the Twins lineup for the past few years. They can't pitch around him too much here, so he's getting more balls in the zone. But again, if he can lay off some of those balls outside the zone, then perhaps he can have a little bit better contact. But again, he's not doing it at an incredible rate or anything like that. And so I think it's more of just getting some more line drives and reducing the ground balls for Alejandro Kirk. All right, Baseball Savant again spreads the ball around pretty well. When he hits the ball hard for a home run, it is of the pull variety for the most part. So again, that average exit velocity is right up there with a little bit better than the league average. That maximum exit velocity, not up there with the big boys, but again, he hits the ball consistently hard. So that is a good sign. Again, the walk and the strikeouts are elite level stuff here. The sprint speed, not so much. It doesn't. He does chase quite a bit here, but he makes pretty good contact. Very good pitch framer, which is key for a defender, and he has that above average defender. And in terms of striking out, we know he doesn't strike out that much here. Past 50 plate appearances, weighted X weighted on base average, ticking up just a little bit over the past 100. Same thing over the past 250, down. And so we'd like to see him get hot going into the playoffs and maintain that momentum. But overall, here's a guy that using most of the fields here. He's not flying out deep or anything like that, which is good to see here. So when he does put the ball in the air, he's making good use of it here. And yeah, we'll see. He needs to beat some of these out here. But a lot of infield grounders. Again, that's what's holding him back, I think, from that 330 type average. All right. Couple of other things that we noticed. He's really improved his fastball average here last year. Four-seamer, his batting average is 189 on those. This year he's hitting over 300 on those, and about 60% of the pitches that he faces are of the fastball variety. He handles sinkers and cutters very, very well. Curveballs he took advantage of hugely last year. This year, not so much, but he's still being fed curveballs at about a 10% clip here. So, whatever they're throwing him, again, they can't let him on base for free, so they have to pitch to him, and that's where you're going to see a lot of the fastballs because of the players that are in that lineup. Now, when you break down his performance relative to other players in the league, it's not fair to do that with catchers. They have fewer plate appearances overall, and so if you take the wins above replacement and divide that by plate appearances, then you get a better feel for, on a per plate basis, how what's the production of some players here. And Alejandro Kirk is right up there, number 30 overall for the season, roughly. If you compare him against Carlos Correa and George Springer, Matt Chapman, Corey Seager, some other players that are maybe bigger names, he's holding his own. But the only catcher that's doing better on a per plate appearance basis is Sean Murphy, slightly ahead of him, and he's equal to Will Smith. And so I know that a lot of people like Will Smith coming in the year. I'm certainly one of them. Alejandro Kirk right there with him, just on a per plate basis in terms of offensive production. He's more than holding his own for the most part here. Dalton Varsho, if you count him as a catcher, also ahead of him, I guess. So, anyways, longer term, he's early. He's come up early. He's young. He's producing at a pretty relatively respectable level here. If you look at players like, and I am looking at those players, so that's why I'm looking over there. But if you look at players like Yadi Molina at age 23. Sitting at 1.2 WAR, Buster Posey 3.8 wins above replacement. Thurman Munson 5.5. JT Realmuto was a negative wins against above replacement player at this point. Bill Freehan was closer to a 10, and so some players that I think could make it in. Mauer and Posey, he's ahead of Posey. Bill Freehan and Thurman Munson, two players that probably should be in behind that pace. Really, what's going to have to happen for Alejandro Kirk is he's going to have to play for a long time and be productive at a fairly high level here. He is tracking, right? In order to keep that going, he's going to have to do something special, right? You have to do something generational. Can he win batting titles? He's going to have to be that type of player. I think it's in him to potentially do that, but he's going to have to start putting together some seasons at 320, 330. He's young. It's still there. Or can he win? I think MVP. That might be tough. But let's get some batting titles, or let's be generationally a generational defensive player like a Yadi Molina. I'm not sure that's in there as well. So I think overall, the way I look at Alejandro Kirk is I'm probably not doing much with him. If I pull something, I'll put it aside. I'll wrap it up nicely. But I'm probably not going to go out of my way for too much. There could be some really fun seasons in the interim. He does have a very nice batting skill, but I don't think I'm going to go too crazy on his cards at all. And fortunately, you don't really have to go too crazy on his cards. So Market Movers doesn't have a lot in their database. But if you want his 2021 top short print variation, this is the only card that they had. You're talking about a $10 card here. You can probably get it for sub $10 over in the off season. So I don't think it'll cost you a whole lot. I don't think there's a ton of upside. There may be a season or two where he's contending for a batting title. People take notice, and then this card could be worth more. So that's your speculative play. I think longer term, because of his body type and because of his lack of other generational type skills. It's just not going to be a long-term play for me. So as far as going after high end if there is for his cards, probably not for me. Maybe it is for you. But when I look at him, I think there could be some fun years. But the longevity, again, because of his body type and because of his lack of, I guess, power, things of that nature. I'm just not super interested in him. I think long term, and so I like him. Fun to watch, pulling for him, and that's about it for me on that one. So perhaps you have some different thoughts on it. Sure like to hear them. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of the day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye now.